think it's incredible how it can ingest so much data and find like audiences or be able to predict who is likely to buy based on behavior. A human would not be able to ingest that much data and make any sort of reasonable, scalable assumptions or hypotheses. So I think for sales, it's amazing for that. I think there are a ton of great use cases, but I think, like you said, humans buy from humans. And I don't think people.
Welcome to the Rookie SDR Show, where we talk to leaders within the tech industry who are making an impact. Here's your host, Franklin Albanus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Rookie SDR Show. I'm currently in Germany, and I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Katie. Katie has an amazing career path, and I'm so excited to have her here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, Franklin. Thanks.
I remember reaching out to you because you made this amazing post on LinkedIn and how you are a person that lights up a room and brings in so much energy and a positive conversation to it. So Katie, just walk us a little bit into what made that amazing LinkedIn post, and how are you currently connecting with so many different individuals at the moment?
Yeah, so I think the LinkedIn post that you're referring to was when I was actually job searching. So I found myself laid off at the end of last year in the tech sector. That is not a rare thing these days, right? And the job market was just more wild than I've ever experienced. Up until that point, every job I had really just led to the next job. I hadn't really had to apply. I mean, I had to go through the normal interview process, but every job had kind of been, I'd been recruited from one position to another. So it was a really interesting place to be, and to walk out after that layoff and realize, oh my gosh, so many people with amazing talent are also in the same position. And it was just incredibly competitive. So I had made this post just really trying to stand out and be unique. And so I made kind of I guess they call it a carousel with information about myself, information about the job types that I was looking for, companies that really interested me, and then just ways to help, because there were so many people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn who know that I'm in sales, knew that I'd had a background in sales, but wanted to help and didn't really know how. So I thought, well, I should make it easy for them. And I had made some really great connections on LinkedIn, and so had some motivation and some other posts that I had seen that kind of inspired this one. So
Can you give us a sort of a little bit of background into what made you first start in the industry you were in prior tech? Yeah, just a little bit of background about you.
Yeah, sure. So most of my career was actually spent in medical device and pharmaceutical sales. So calling on orthodontists, dentists, medical doctors. I sold in a variety of different disease states and got into that pretty early into my career. Really enjoyed it. It was great, especially in the earlier days. And just over time, there were a couple things that made me look for something different. One of the big things was layoffs. It was sort of becoming a very volatile industry for sales. A lot of medical systems have all gone corporate. So you've probably heard of corporatized medicine, corporatized hospitalization, and that made it really hard for sales representatives to access healthcare professionals. So did that for a really long time. And then just over time, honestly, wanted to be able to flex some more creative muscles. And there's a lot of regulations in healthcare sales. So just was kind of looking for something where I could get back to creative roots. Back when I started, we were allowed to do interesting events and really do more creative outreach with our target healthcare professionals. And so over time, as that was changing, I was just looking for something where I could be a little bit more creative, and discovered tech sales. I don't know why I didn't discover it sooner. My husband's been in tech sales for quite a while. I just always thought, well, he's the technical one in the family, and I'm the one who knows medicine and healthcare. And I would absolutely go back to healthcare and medicine if I needed to or the opportunity arose. But I am really enjoying flexing different muscles right now in tech.
Those skill sets that you learn in a medical device industry to be able to pivot into your first role was an account executive, or were you doing a little bit of prospecting yourself, where you were doing calls, emails, and a little bit of LinkedIn messaging?
Yeah, so both actually. Full sales cycle account executive. So I did have an SDR. Full disclosure, I have never actually been an SDR. but have served the role in other titles and names and stuff. So absolutely a lot of skills overlapped. The hunter mentality overlapped, needing to find a new way in the relationship building and getting past gatekeepers and really getting to the decision maker. A lot of those skills overlapped. But then there's also a ton of new skills that have been really exciting to learn too.
Whenever we pass the meetings to the account executive sort of has a doesn't just jump in the meeting. Like, you have to do a bunch of research as well about the person that you're going to be speaking to, not just hey, you got all the notes from the SDR and your Salesforce, but at the same time you need to do your own research. So like, what are those things that you look into before you hop on a meeting?
Yeah, so much research. I really want to know about the person that I'm connecting with, of course. So a lot of that comes from LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, just searching to see if they've also participated in any podcasts where I could learn some personal information, get some information about their professional views. So podcasts for sure, see if they've written any articles, and then a lot of research about the company, because there's so much there that's important. And on a discovery call, we only have so much time. So I don't want to waste a prospective customer's time asking things I could find out online. So how large is your company? Where are you located? How long have you been in business? What verticals do you sell into? How many sellers do you have? Sometimes we can find that out. Sometimes we can't. So I think it's really important, and prospects appreciate having an AE who comes to the meeting prepared. To really know, okay, I understand the background of your business. Let's really get into what you're looking to solve and not have to waste time on all of that background information. So yeah, lots of research. I mean, Gartner, G2, I check RepView a lot just to see how their sales team is performing, especially because right now I sell to sellers and I sell to sales leaders, which is so fun. So yeah, so seeing how their sales team is performing.
How account executives measures?
We get a forecast, how much closed won we can get. Sometimes it's bucketed into different product mixes, but really closed won is the ultimate judge, I guess, whether or not you are meeting your quota. And then the smaller things under that would really be the metrics that are helping you get to quota. And I think for account executives, there's focus on the metrics. How many emails are you sending? How many calls are you making? But more importantly, how many emails are being opened? How many emails are being responded to? How many phone calls are actual conversations? And what is the outcome of all of those conversations and communication? Once you get to the AE, it's less about the exact number of metrics and more about the impact of those metrics. Instead of focusing on, did you send 500 emails last week? It's let's look at those emails and see how quality they were and what kind of engagement you got from those emails. And then same on the calls. Our calls are all recorded as long as the customer consents. And then there's a lot of call review, video review, taking a look and just seeing how we could meet the customer where they are better, how we could better understand their needs and pain. And yeah, a lot of it is really teaching us how to best understand the customers and meet their needs where they are. We don't really look at it, at least me and my team, we don't really look at our job as selling as much as helping a customer change behavior to impact the change of their business.
Some posts on LinkedIn, liking some comments, and as well commenting on some posts. How was that helpful whenever you were looking for new opportunities, especially in the job market nowadays?
I think that now, for sales at least, it may not be the same in every industry, but for tech sales, I think it's a need to do, not a nice to do, because there is such a saturated job seeker market that I think you really need to make that personal connection. And I think that's where things might be getting lost a little bit right now is there's so much emphasis on post on LinkedIn, connect on LinkedIn, comment on LinkedIn, which is all really well and good as long as you're being authentic about it. I think we've seen it take a turn for the worse a little bit with bots and with AI. There's a lot of apps that will generate your commenting, that will generate your posts. And I don't do any of that. For me, if I don't have anything actually valuable to say, I won't say something just to say it. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Some people will comment simply because they need comment volume. For me personally, I don't operate that way. If I don't have anything valuable, I won't say it. I don't really like comments for comment's sake or conversation just for conversation's sake. I think it's more important to build a real relationship. And how helpful was that? Honestly, I think it was incredibly helpful. I did develop some really true, genuine relationships with people that I met on LinkedIn and haven't met in real life yet. And I think it just, having that authentic side of it means your volume is lower, but the value of your connections are higher. And they're people who really truly want to help you, and they're people that you really truly want to help as well. So reciprocity, but also even more than reciprocity, just true friendship and actually, being really true, kind humans to each other.
Whenever you were looking for a new opportunity, like what was it that initially you were looking for? And how did you end up in the company that you're currently working at now?
That's interesting. So I was looking initially when I got laid off. So I was in pharmaceuticals. The division I was working for actually consolidated and closed due to a medication not coming to market. So that entire division closed. That was a layoff that I saw coming. Were given ample time to prepare. I stayed until the very end and saw the medication I was selling through its life cycle. And at that point, because I had time to prepare and saw what was coming, I had a chance to continue working, but also evaluate what was I going to do next. And I had been a part of several pharmaceutical companies that either sold off their product, had consolidated. I had made my way through those layoffs and always come out fine, but I knew that it was getting dicey. And so while I had that time to prepare, I was like, do I want to find another pharmaceutical job or do I want to find something different? And I interviewed for both, and then honestly found myself incredibly fortunate and lucky that a tech company did take a chance on me and say, you've been selling for a long time. You have a great personality. You can clearly build really good relationships. We can teach you the tech side. And that was incredible. Had a really great experience, had an incredible leader who taught me so much and was very patient with me learning the tech language. It's like a whole new language. Like it's almost like going to another country sometimes. And it was really challenging to not be a subject matter expert on my product or on exactly the industry, but just, kept at it. There was so much to learn, but it was really interesting things to learn. So that made it great. Fortunately, that time was cut short because the company consolidated their sales team and it was kind of a last in, first out motion. And I had not been there as long as a lot of their legacy sellers. So when that happened, it was, do I go back to medical? That's where my history has been, or do I stay in tech? And it was a really hard choice. Honestly, I was looking into both. I was interviewing for both. And so it was kind of hard to put myself out there as somebody who had a foot in each industry, right? But how did I end up exactly where I am? I think it was just truly connecting with the hiring team, being completely authentic through the entire interview process. The position at one point became unavailable due to some restructuring, and just handling that news that I'd gone so far through the interview process and then things were halting, just really handling that humbly and with maturity and not getting upset. Because things happen, right? I would rather the process slow down before I'm on board than reverse after being on board. And I just kept a great relationship with the people that I had met through the interview process. And then when the position became open again, we revisited the conversation, did a few new interviews, and it worked out. Timing worked out great. So that's how I landed.
And currently, right now, where are you?
I'm at Demandbase. So selling account-based marketing partnerships or an account-based marketing platform. So it's really, really great.
What would you recommend for people out there that currently is looking, going through a layoff, is looking for a new opportunity? What do you recommend them to do, especially when it comes to not getting angry, not getting upset as well, which of course we're human, it's normal, but yeah.
This is hard. A lot of people kept saying, don't worry, the right thing will come along. The right thing will come along. The right thing will come along. And while I was unemployed and working so hard to get my next position, that didn't feel helpful at the time. I think everybody came from a really good place and meant really well with that advice. And looking back, they were absolutely correct. But in the moment, it didn't feel helpful. I felt like that's all well and good, but I need to know what to tangibly do. What action can I take right now? And so I think the advice I would give is be actionable and be yourself. And the right thing might come at the right time, but it's not going to happen if you don't put in the work. And I think that people really, truly want to help. So leverage your relationships, think through who do I know that might know someone who'd be willing to have a conversation with me? Don't think of it as who do I know who can help me get a job? Don't think of it as who do I know who could do this for me and get me to the next step? Just who can I talk to about what I'm looking for? Who can I talk to about what accomplishments I've made and see where that takes me? Will it take me to a job? Maybe. Will it take me to another connection? Probably. So you can't really look at exactly what the person can do for you, but look at it as how can I build a relationship with somebody, and maybe I need to help them with something first. Like maybe there's something we can work on together and that will lead to something. So I think keeping the long game in mind, and I think that goes for being a seller and being a job seeker. You got to keep the long game in mind. You can't look to somebody just to do something for you today. It needs to be an authentic ask with an authentic, meaningful connection. Like, I'm not just coming to you, Franklin, to see what you can do for me. I'm coming to see if there's a reason for us to have a relationship and a conversation and help each other, throughout the future. So I think just building those connections, being authentic. You really don't want to work somewhere that doesn't accept you for who exactly you are. So just present yourself the way that you really are in your interviews, which can be hard. They're nerve-wracking, right? Like it's really hard to just show up and be yourself. But I think that's really important. It's a lot easier to be yourself than it is to put on a mask and pretend you're someone you're not, that you're going to have to decide, am I still that person if you get the job? Tactics that I think help too. I loved using Teal. I know everybody on LinkedIn is talking about Teal as a resource. That was great. RepView was a really helpful resource because I wanted to be intentional about who I was going to apply to work for. Yeah. And that was a great place to come to interviews prepared. LinkedIn, of course, you can get so much information about who you're going to be interviewing with, and just show up to every interview prepared. If you're not going to prepare, don't bother showing up because you'll be wasting your time and the interviewer's time. I think it's table stakes now to come in with an education and know who you're talking to and what you're talking about.
Yeah, as someone left a comment on one of my TikToks, they said, where do sellers see AI in the near future? Now, this topic's like everywhere on LinkedIn, right? They're saying like AI is replacing customer service, AI is replacing salespeople. But in my personal opinion, when it comes to AI, you have to stay up to date to any other different types of technology, not just AI, and be able to leverage it if you're able to in your job, right? But in your personal opinion, like, where do you see AI? Do you think AI is going to replace us as sellers, or?
Oh my goodness, the $1 million question, Franklin. I can really only speak for myself and how I utilize AI, because for me, personal relationships, intention, authenticity is so important. I don't see AI being able to replace that. Where I utilize AI on the regular is research. I think that it is brilliant to put in information about a company and get AI's perspective, and using a really good prompt to say, hey, from the perspective of X, Y, and Z persona, how would you view a given situation? Just because I like to get that perspective, and sometimes it gives you a little more of the language that you need to talk to your seller, right? Like we sell to people in manufacturing. I don't know a whole lot about manufacturing. We sell to people in healthcare. We sell to people in computer engineering. So I don't know all about that. So it's a great place to go for research and context and insight. But I don't utilize any of the tools now that are like, use AI to generate your LinkedIn messages, use AI to write your emails, use AI to automate sending connection requests. Those are probably good tools for some people, and they probably have a place. I think at my level of sales and the way that I approach my customers and prospective customers is just, you need more than that. Like AI is kind of, it's likened to like spray and pray, right? Like you can do so much at scale with AI, but at least in an AE role, I don't need to scale a lot, right? Like, yes, there's a lot of people that I need to reach and a lot of people that I need to talk to, but I don't need to talk to hundreds every day. And I think that's where AI can come in. But I also think we're reaching a point where a lot of that AI generated scalable outreach is just noise. People can see it a mile away. They can smell it. They can tell that no one wrote it, and they're not going to respond. Like if I get something that's obviously AI, I feel no conviction to reply because I'm like, there's not a human on the other end. If I get outreach from another person and I can tell that it's a human who wrote it, I feel much more conviction to interact with them, whether I can help them, whether I can buy from them or not. I still want to reach out and acknowledge the person. If it's a robot on the other end, I don't feel that same conviction. I think AI might be able to make us more efficient if we use it correctly. But again, I think it can easily become noise.
Yeah.
So
No,
is
I
that what you were
definitely,
going for?
yeah, that was definitely the long-winded answer, but
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
No, but that is true. I see this every day, right, on LinkedIn and everything. But at the end of the day, like humans sell to humans, and we still want to have that human interaction, and it happens every day. We doubt us even realizing, and I feel just like any said with any new technology, leverage it, but at the same time, don't forget, like, be relevant. Like,
Yeah.
don't send like 1,000 emails saying the same thing to various different people that with different industries and personas. I think you're just you're burning your leads at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
I will say the other value I see for it for sellers, the ability for predictive models. Like we use a lot of predictive models at
Mhm.
Demandbase. I think it's incredible how it can ingest so much data and find like audiences or be able to predict who is likely to buy based on behavior. A
Yeah.
human would not be able to ingest that much data and make any sort of reasonable, scalable assumptions or hypotheses. So I think for sales, it's amazing for that. I think there are a ton of great use cases, but I think, like you said, humans buy from humans. And I don't think people really want to talk to a robot. I think that we want responsive customer relationships. We want to buy from people that we like. And it's hard to really like a robot. So I think it absolutely has its place. I don't think it's going away. I think it's the sexy topic of today. But I don't think that it's going to replace us. When maybe that's just me being hopeful. But
Speaking of the ever evolving world in technology, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
oh my gosh, that's a great question. I have no idea. I would love to say I hope that I'm still at Demand Base. I hope that I am by then a subject matter expert and ready to help other younger sellers. I love processes and I love building out communication. I think enablement would be a really great place to spend some time, sales enablement and teaching and training other sellers. But I might also just want to stay an independent contributor and working with customers, or maybe management. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm kind of open to where the road takes me.
Maybe we need to have a podcast in 5 years from now, right?
Maybe.
And what would you say, or what would be some amazing tips for any account executive listening to you right now, right? What could you tell them, like going through the market right now, right? A little bit of roller coaster right now, right? But
hmm
what type of advice or what type of tips would you give them?
Play the long game. This market, I don't think is going to last forever. I hope it's not going to last forever. And don't don't sell your soul for the quick win. Like keep your integrity up, keep your wits about you, stay the type of seller you are. It might not get you the fastest, quickest wins, but you get to maintain your integrity and keep the relationships. I mean, people change positions in this industry so rapidly. You don't want to burn a bridge with someone today and then find out you need to also be engaging with them when they move to their new company or you move to a new company and you were super aggressive with them and you burn that bridge and they don't ever want to talk to you again. It's all the long game, and people aren't going to buy something that they don't need, and they're not going to buy something that they don't want. So don't burn a bridge over it. Maintain your integrity, stick with it, and honestly, sell the way you would want to be sold to, and sell to help the customer grow their business. You're not just selling them a tool to put on the shelf. You're selling them a solution to a real problem that they're facing in their job. And if they don't have that problem, they're probably not the right buyer for you. And that's okay. There's someone else. So honestly, to summarize that long-winded answer, I'd say keep your integrity, play the long game, realize this probably won't last forever, and just keep a helper mindset that we do want to help and serve our customers.
And with that note, how can anyone find you if they want to get some advice from you, some tips, or maybe they just want to hear about Demandbase? What's the best
Yeah,
way to
yeah,
get in
absolutely.
contact with
Actually,
you?
we're hiring account executives at Demandbase, so they could absolutely reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk about it. I've not been there that long, so I'm not an expert, but love it so far. Would be happy to reach out and have people talk to me. You could find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Katie Leatherman. There might be one or two others on there, but you'll find me. And I love a tool that I should have mentioned earlier that I love is Canva. And that's one thing I offered to help job seekers with is I can help you make your LinkedIn profile stand out. I can help you, make your LinkedIn banner and, maybe make your profile picture pop. And I'd be happy to help some folks with that as well. So if they want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to help.
Amazing. Well, Katie, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I
Thank
learned so
you.
much throughout the whole conversation. And any final words out there?
It's a jungle out there. I feel it every day. It's hard, but it's fun, and we're all really just so fortunate and so lucky to be in this industry, and that we get to do this every day. And I feel so lucky that I get to meet people all over the world and not have to leave my house sometimes. So stick it out.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for once again listening to the Rookie SDR show. And until next time.
Thank you.